Hello, lovely people. This is Rita Wood, and we are coming today and doing the 12-step transformational belief system through ONETAP Mindset. And in this program, we have two calls. We have a 9:30 Central Time Zone and a 5:30 Central Time Zone. That'll change as well as when the time changes. For this meeting, it lasts approximately 1 hour. During this hour, we come together for mutual help. We come to learn how to have access to power and the power to create a life by design. The group conscious requests that all present refrain from gossip, dominance of discussions of religion, treatment centers, self-help programs, counseling, advice giving, and the use of material other than the ONETAP Mindset approved literature. Remember to keep the focus on us and not on others. We thank you for the cooperation in our efforts to stick to the ONETAP Mindset principles. So this is what we'll do is we're going to read the, oh, I'm going to do this here. There we are. We're going to read this here. So we're going to read the 10 Commandments. And the 10 Commandments is like what I like to say, it's why we have problems. And this belief system is, to me, it's known to be 100% true. Like this stuff is 100%. And look, what I like about these meetings is you get to try this on. You get to try these concepts, these feelings, these thoughts. You get to try on to see if it's true for you and how is it true for you. So we are a neuroplasticity brain training program that we've implemented a 12-step transformational belief system so we can learn how to change our mind. I don't know if you guys can see Shirti and I were Faster EFT practitioners. I'm upper level 4, and she is in her 3rd year training. So we get to come from a different perspective. Look, we are as healthy as our perspective of ourselves and of life. So here's an opportunity just to kind of try it on. I like to say try it on because it's like a jacket or a shirt. You try it on, see how it fits. If it's good, it makes you feel good, then you keep wearing the jacket. If not, you put it away and you're like, donate it to Goodwill or something. Just kidding. Okay, so the 10 Commandments. So these are 100% belief systems. We operate from 100% truth, why we really have problems, issues, pain, symptoms. So number 1, before you were born, the stage was set. That was it. Before you got here, the stage was set. The environment, the people, places, or things, the culture, the community, the religions, the beliefs, the stories, they were already there before you even were conceived. Number 2, your caregivers had skills. They had their own coping skills, their own talents, their own stories, their own problems before you even arrive. So can you imagine being a little infant baby? And here you are born into that environment. You're born into your family structure. They impact you. So as you're growing up, they impact you, they influenced you, they taught you, they controlled you, they avoided you, they manipulated you, or you manipulated them. So you got impacted by them somehow. Number 5, you develop coping skills. This is naturally what's happening is as a youngster, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's that part of your brain that's automatically just absorbing, right? You're absorbing how to walk, how to talk, if it's Spanish, if it's English, if it's some other native tongue, you're learning how to love. What is love? Being fed, being coddled, being, you learn how to survive in that connection. You learn to contribute in your little toddler years. you learn how to get whatever it is that you needed to get to grow, to feel significant in someone's life. Number 6, you created a belief system. So here you are, now you're like, oh, I am a girl, I am a boy, I am Mexican, I am American, I am a woman, I am. So you start creating these these belief system to survive. So your perspective of how the world works was created, and that it was created during these times. These you're going to school, you're learning what other people are doing or not doing. You created that identity, and you begin to operate from that identity. I'm on my own. Something happens when you're maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, where you have an idea of like, I'm on my own. Or you have, you know, several years later, you're like, I don't belong. So now you're looking for a place to belong. And there's times where maybe as you're getting older, you're thinking like, there's something is wrong here, you know, and that could be with you. Like there's something wrong here with me. Because how many of us go around saying, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And that's not a good question to Google in your brain. You want to say like, why are things always working out for me? That's what you want to say. So we learn that. And then we start finding our place in the world with people who we fit and we match our model of the world, our thinking. So we step into those worlds, we look for them. My teacher likes to say we get our tattoos and we join the clubs that have the same structures, the same patterns, the same themes, and the same stories. So notice who you're hanging out with. Notice their structure and their patterns and how you are relating with them, because we want to feel like that we belong and that you are important. And okay, and number 10, and this is operating from truth, why we really have problems. So number 10 is therefore, and this is more of the brain training part of the thought process or the belief system, that all problems are metaphoric, unconscious expressions that we built from our inner references, whether consciously remembered or not. Your brain will express and create before you and hold inside what you've already learned and repeats itself. So it's a great recycling system. The brain loves to put things in order. How do you drive? Sometimes you get in your car and you just go and you drive and you're like, how did I get here? Oh, how did I get here? That is a pattern. Those are fractionations. And as we go on through the years, little words like this might come up: metaphor, unconscious, conscious, like all that for me before this program was a foreign. It was foreign vocabulary. It was words that were just big. Those are big words, and they have big meanings underneath there. So once you start breaking down those meanings, you can see and you can notice how your life begins to change moment by moment, thought by thought, feeling by feeling. And now what I'd like to do is I'll just take a little pause and we will kind of go over, like, anybody has any questions about that, and then we'll go into the 12 steps of the transformational belief system. So I'm going to pause and take a break.
Plus, basically the format is
Yeah, the format is we'll read something and then we'll talk about it and kind of expand a little bit and let other people kind of get more of a like, oh, that's how it works. So we talked about this is why we have problems: issues, pain, and symptoms. That's the foundation. Out of the 10 commandments, the 7th, you create an identity, an I am. And I like to put in parentheses, or yeah, is that parentheses? Because so if you notice that we have a because for everything, right? I do this because, and I do this because, and I feel like this because, and he said this because, and I didn't do this, finish this project because. So that because becomes an identity. That because we begin to operate from that survival part of our brain. So we know that our brain has a survival mechanism, right? And we want to do things right, and we don't want to do things wrong, and we want to be good people. So we're going to do, and we want to be so good that we will die proving how good we are. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. So so Natasha, now we can talk about that topic. What did you get out of, you created an identity?
So when something happened in the past, we formed like a belief about ourselves and the world and how we operate in the world. And then that belief became like we started identifying with that belief, and that's how but basically we started using coping mechanisms, or changing our personalities, or changing the way we react to the world around us based on something that happened in the past.
Yeah. So there was a perspective.
Okay.
Something happened and you created perspective. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not loving. I must have done something wrong because
I should feel guilty.
Guilt, shame because of something that happens. And so then because of that, then there's a way to behave, right? And that perspective creates the identity, that creates the how-to, that creates the coping mechanism. And some of us have a maladapted coping mechanism. Like, what is a maladapted coping mechanism? Like, what's something that for survival purposes we go to the extreme? I am
Unlovable.
Unlovable. Okay, so yeah, so I am unlovable. And so some of the things that start happening, if you have that filter from yourself, you start to tolerate people who are abusive, who yell at you. You start to tolerate mediocrity because I'm not lovable and this person wants to talk to me. I gotta mold myself to that individual because that's where I'm going to survive. That's where I'm going to get my love. That's where I'm going to get connection. That's where I'm going to be certain that that person's going to be there. So we start creating and coping, maladapted coping. So I am not lovable. In our work in brain training, in the 12-step transformational living, we know there's steps on how to pop out of that, how to rewrite, release, and rewire the brain to not have that as our filtration system. Woo, woo. And what was the other one we were going to talk about, Shirti?
The coping skills. Yeah.
You want to touch base on that?
Certainly. We develop coping skills based so that we can survive in that environment, the environment we're born in. We can survive in, otherwise we can't, because it could be too much, too harsh, whatever their problem was. So we just develop these coping skills. We shut down, or we just please. Who knows? All kinds of coping skills could come in. And so we just adopt those, and those eventually become our identity. I am unlovable, so like to get some love, I'm just going to please. So those could be coping skills that we
and then our identities,
or you could hide in the background more and more, right?
Or become the doormat. That's a metaphor. We talk about number 10, the 10th commandment is that everything out here is a metaphor. So the doormat is a metaphor of pleasing, people walking over you, you having no coping skills or belief systems that have a perspective that you are valued, that you are lovable, that you are, an inspiration to this planet Earth, right? So, I mean, it could get pretty deep. I like this, ladies. We'll say hello to Miss Leslie here in a second, and then we'll go to the 12 steps, and then we're going to talk about how we can implement these 12 steps when we find that limiting belief, when we find that coping skill, when we find that I am that no longer serves you, these are the steps that we can start to break that down and start to, it's a seed. That little seed is going to get in the ground and it's going to struggle, and then it's going to break through because we're going to nurture it and we're going to give it some sun and some love. And before you know it, you're going to be this oak tree of strength and love and compassion, because these 12 steps nurture that. So we know that a lot of the stuff that has happened in our past is no longer happening here today now. So the point of power is in the moment, and we live a lot from our past history. So let me say hello. Zoom recording. Okay, so we're going to go over the 12 steps of the transformational living belief system. And then we're going to take what we were talking about earlier, like either a belief system or an I'm not good enough, right? Or I'm not lovable enough. So we're going to take the I'm not lovable enough or I'm not lovable as a belief system or as an identity. And with this identity, we're going to plant that seed into this transformational system that's going to allow it to kind of break up and take root in a different, more like a gift oriented step or yeah. So
a terrible metaphor. It's the difference between shit and manure.
right. I love it. Manure has rich ingredients and minerals, and yeah, and the shit is short, hostile,
Nelly.
internal, stuff.
Yeah.
Very
Sorry.
good. It's a metaphor now. Okay, so Natasha, you want to lead us with that number 1?
Sure. Take complete ownership in all areas of life. The beginning of a new realm of possibility. In brackets, give something up.
Okay, so step 1, how would you? I'm not lovable.
So take ownership for all the ways that I know that I'm not lovable. It's up to me to identify that belief. It's not somebody else. It's not the responsibility of somebody else. It's me.
Very good. Very good. Anybody else on that one?
Yeah, sure. Like also taking ownership of how we are doing it to ourselves. How am I doing this to myself? How am I holding on to this belief? And now I am doing this to myself. And also, because of this belief, say I'm not lovable, I am actually doing it to others. So just taking that ownership of how I am doing it to self and to others, because I'm holding on to this shell. So just taking that ownership, just realizing what we're doing to ourselves.
I love it. Great. Leslie, want to take a jab at it?
Two things. One, with some kind of intimacy with ourselves, and that means loving, understanding that my inside of my body, my tummy, my sleeping, my everything, to think more kindly about myself. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to be doing, kind of turning that around and saying, I can also believe it when somebody says to me they love. Why not believe them? Why not believe them? And an exercise now of literally just looking how I don't love the inside of me. I'm not digesting very well. I'm not sleeping very well. Yeah, it's time to stop that, to flip that around.
Very good. So yes, so this is great. This is a great insight. So transformational living, belief system, taking ownership because we have been we've learned, we know that the survival part of our brain learned something. We knew that we are in a hypnotic state. We know that the programming of like growing up, how we were lovable was a reflection of how the adult in us, the adult around us loved us. So if we weren't, uh, uh, so what I want to say is I'm not lovable. It's just a program. It's not true. It's not happening right now. I'm not lovable is can't it will be rewritten. And when you take complete ownership, and that's probably the hardest part because we've been learned to blame, right? It's everyone else's fault that I'm not lovable because I tried or I manipulated or I coerced, but I didn't take ownership. So when you take ownership in that little thing, like Natasha was saying, you could ask, how do I know I'm not lovable? How do I know I'm not lovable? And all those things that you know that you're not lovable, those are, it's a perception from an I am not lovable glasses. So when you take complete ownership, you say, I own it. I own it. Okay, I'm not lovable. Okay, I'm not lovable. Is that really, really true? I'm not lovable. Is that really, really true? You can be with that. Because then you start, once you own it, you start operating from a new realm of possibility. Your brain will start saying, but you are lovable, right? So something that we give up is that it's that, you know, people could say it's ego, it's righteousness, it's being, you know, a victim. Sometimes we're a victim to circumstances. Poor me, I'm a victim, but that's not taking responsibility. So we might have to give up something. We might have to give up the fact that we're putting other people as responsible for it. We might have to give up a way of acting or reacting where we're not taking complete ownership. So can you guys see how you could give up something? Leslie, like you were saying, your tummy's not digesting. So what do you have, what are you avoiding taking responsibility, or what are you avoiding, period?
Well, the way, one of the ways that I'm beginning to make changes is to say, what if I did take responsibility? What would it feel like to do that? Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
And just step into it for a little while and talk through that and see through that and feel through that and see. It's like it's a safe, for me, it's a safe way to do it.
Very nice.
Yes.
And because we have a fast EFT modality, when you're in there and you're noticing the loss or the grievance or whatever it is, the healing, because things will bubble up, is that we like to tap, right? So we can breathe in and out of our nose, and then we can tap, you know, let it go, let it flow, let it out, let it vent, switch it, flip it, make it nice again, blow it out, squeeze your wrist, and then now you're directing your brain to something happy, something kind, something gentle. Maybe it's a color, maybe it's a sound, maybe it's a humming, maybe you hum your favorite song, you know, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy, you know. So whatever it is that you need to transform that. So you're taking ownership, like Leslie was saying. You be kind, you listen, you notice, you feel some emotion, and when you tap, you're calming those emotions. And the calmer you are, the wiser you become, right? And so now that'll take us to step 2. Step 2 is seek truths that will improve your life. And then I have try it on. And when you try it on, a new view of life emerges. So can someone speak to that? Like, how do you seek truths? I think coming to a meeting like this helps you seek your own truth and not the truth of your church, your husband, your mother, your old stories, your hurts, your pains, your traumas, right? So when you try these kind of things out, you get to find your own truths. Sometimes, at least for me, my truth were so layered like an onion that it was everybody else's truth in my eyes. You know, I was living the church's truth, my parents' truth, but really seeking truths that will improve your life. I know we're good about improving our husbands, our kids, our churches. We're really good about improving their life. So who would like to speak to that?
Yeah, I guess you just see what rings true to you. After you take that ownership, know that I'm doing this to myself, or like even with the physical disease, you know, I have produced it. So now that you have taken the ownership, you seek the truth, you know, how can I heal this part of me and what would help me? What's the real truth here? So seeking those truths, seeking those methods or modalities or whatever, and try it on and see if that really rings true to you. If that's what you know, it's not based on everyone else's perception or everyone else's beliefs, if that's what's your real truth. So you just try it and see what works.
I love it. That's great. Great. Natasha?
Maybe using like what if statements, like Leslie said earlier. What if I actually am lovable? What if I have been wrong all this while? What if, yeah, because you could have been wrong when you got that belief. For whatever reason, the belief was wrongly installed in you. So what if statements are good. Possibilities of being different, like being a different person, having a different mindset. Just the thinking of different possibilities moves your mind into a different space, which I guess brings openness to your existence. Again,
Beautiful.
possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And I have to get it out of the head, out of my head, to
Yeah.
an experience of some kind, which is why try it, what if, instead of trying to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
It's like trying is such a long word. Isn't it? I mean, it's like it goes on forever. I'll try this and then I'll try it, which is different than doing or being it. As I think we've all been saying, being in that state where,
As if it's already happened.
yeah, and
Okay.
there's not much to think about at all, because the surprises are in there. I found there's surprises. It's like, what did I just think? What did I just say? What is coming out here? It's nicer than I thought for the most part. It's real different than I thought. So it's like a surprise. We are our own surprise package.
I love it. I love it. And I think for some of us who are really who are even resisting, if you're listening to the ladies and you're resisting, like you're already fighting with Shruti and Natasha, and you don't know and you don't understand. All you have to do is right here, just feel the fingers hitting your head, the side of your eye, underneath your eye, breathe in and out of your nose. And you might have to replay this 100 times. You keep doing that, your survival part of your brain will relax, and the executive part of your brain will start making the truth, the links that will improve you. Those sights, those sounds of love and compassion and curiosity and calm will come out. They will pop out. when you work this system this way. Okay, the third step is seek truths into wisdom. And we kind of were already headed towards that, where you're finding the gift, you're gaining a new skill, you're seeing from a new framework, you're knowing and you're understanding it and you're realizing it, cultivating, not in the I'm trying, but you're actually cultivating it into action. Even by just tapping, that is an action, right? That is an action. So who wants to speak to that? Speak truths into wisdom.
There are no little things. Just the few seconds about tapping. That's the illusion that the doing is big. I got to do this. I got to clean the whole freaking table. I've got to do it all instead of just taking these few little pieces of paper. The elephant is always in the room for me. I got to remember just to grab the tail or the trunk or something. Yeah.
Right. There's a lot that you said there. There's a lot that you said, because look, it's part of our brain that makes things big. Like, that's a big task. I'll never get there. It's too hard. Just know that's just what the brain does, because the brain would have to learn a whole new technique or let go of that one behavior or skill that has kept you alive, that has survived you through all the hurts and pains. So that is part of that process. And this is why the tapping is going to help really soothe that and let you speak the truth into wisdom, step by step, inch by inch, yard by yard, everything's hard. Those are metaphors, guys. Okay, Shirti or Natasha? Yes.
No, we can carry on. I think we've, like, these two were quite similar, the 2 points.
Okay. The fourth step is recognizing and developing healthy inner communication. So who wants to talk about the 5 inner communication processes just in the brain training world?
Yeah, so basically what we're seeing, what we choose to see in our life, what we're seeing, how we're seeing certain things, or what kind of words we hear, what are we feeling inside, tasting, smelling. So yeah, so those are our 5 ways we are gathering the information.
Yeah, and it's either an input or or external.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So recognizing and developing a healthy inner communication, because usually what happens is we go into default mode network, just what's been happening. That's why we have patterns, and right. So it's happening. So now you want to recognize and develop the inner communication. When you do that, you're opening yourself to new possibilities. You're being called powerfully into being, in the areas that matter to you most. So what are some of who wants to speak to that? Like, how are some ways you can see yourself powerfully being called by recognizing and developing a healthy inner communication?
Yeah, I mean, if you're seeing bad pictures inside of us, or we're hearing those bad words over and over, or feeling bad feelings, just recognizing those, just stopping. Okay, stop. Okay, I'm recognizing this. I'm taking ownership. Going back to, okay, I'm taking ownership, but that's not my wisdom anymore, because I'm seeking a better truth. So just stopping right there in the moment and saying, okay, I choose to see better pictures. So you tap anything that comes up, tap on those bad pictures, words, feelings, and then change those into something good. Now,
love it.
I want to ask you a question about stop. I have a friend who does this when she's hearing things, she just claps, a big clap, and that stops her. What other ways? I find that I can't think stop and stop. There's a momentum sometimes that gets going. So I'm very curious about how you guys stop. You wake yourself up.
Yeah. So anything that's showing up as something you don't like or want more of, that That could be the cue to stop. So it's a stop technique. It's an acronym. So you stop, you look up, you smile, you tap, you breathe
Okay,
until you get peace, persistently, playfully. You could do some physicalness, right? And so, and you might want to, write it down with a smile, a transform, a tap, oxygen, breathing in and out of your nose, nice and deep, get present, be playful, be physical, until the peace comes. And of course, the higher the emotion, the bigger it has to be.
Yeah.
Big. I mean, if
yeah,
you're sobbing and crying, your butt needs to get up and you need to probably do some jumping jacks, laugh out loud.
Yeah.
I can hear myself roaring sometimes. I roar at Ernie. It's like, and yeah,
You have to do what it takes, right?
Yeah. And
And
sometimes,
I think the more, yeah, go ahead.
no, you.
I think the more we do it, the more we can stop faster and
good.
quicker in the
Yeah,
moment.
good point.
It's just about like making it a habit, and then also comes to taking ownership again. It's like, okay, here I am again, doing it again. So okay, stop, time to stop.
Yeah.
Right, but I think what
Persistence.
you're saying is it's not just like stopping it. It is actually like smiling, tapping,
Okay. Yep.
breathing, doing the piece, go to your
Dancing.
favorite color, do whatever defracts that you need to do, and then like do that over and over again. And the thing is, what I've noticed that by doing something like that, I get triggered so much less now. It's
That's great.
unbelievable, right? So,
Believe it.
well, it is believable. Yeah, we know it's
Yeah.
believable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the reason is because as brain trainers, we're all brain trainers here. We know that we're accessing different parts of the brain, the right side, the left side, right side, left side. We're collapsing. We're doing the good, bad collapse whenever that's coming up. And those neurons, those connections, those networks do flatten out. So being persistent and playful with that really helps. So this is the stop technique: smile, tap, oxygen, peace, play, or until it persists. And that's just like a reminder that you want to, you can do. Very good. What is the next one? Okay, the fifth. Ooh, I think we kind of went to the fifth one already. Understanding and knowing your heart-mind connection. Your heart-mind connection, your spirit, your soul, your mind, it's all connected. So when you're feeling sad, your body starts feeling sad, starts acting sad, right? So there is a connection there. So when we stop and we break patterns, you're also doing that mentally, emotionally. There's different aspects of us, right? We have the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual. I even say the financial, right? Of our beingness. So understand and know that there's a connection, and you want to observe, and you want to notice, and you want to experience. That's the one, one tap, and then you tap, right? You tap, you transform that, you aim it, and when you transform that, you can use breathing, you can use the right questions, the questions that you're Googling good stuff. There's a lot of ways to interrupt and to create new and just listen and watch without judgment. This is very big. Is being curious, being calm. See, we're really quick to be like, oh, it's traumatic. Just be the observer. Notice it like a third party. Notice it like, say that again.
The observer is a huge word. It's a stepping aside for me. It's somebody, it's myself. This is not disassociated. It's not disassociated. it's practicing something. I used it when I had to give a speech or had to say something to somebody that I didn't want to say. I practiced it a couple of times. And that's where the observer really started to live. So I have a living observer.
Yeah. And right now, even the people who are listening, we can kind of step back and just notice who's doing the listening. Right? There's a higher
That's
you
great.
that cannot be hurt. There's a higher being of yourself that has no pain, has no hurts. It's our living survival part of our ego, or that part of our brain that has survived us up to this point. And and this is coming to the next one, is we want to thank that part.
Yeah.
We want to love that part. If it's anger, if it's honoriness, if it's whatever it is, it has brought us to this safety area. And when you can have love and grace and empathy and even apologize, right? I'm sorry for being so ornery. I'm sorry
Yes.
for losing out on love because I was so afraid, or whatever it is. And tapping as you go there. So this goes into step 6: honor and transcend, release, rewrite, rewire all the stories, all the hurts, all the pains. It's just data. It's just programs. They're not even ours. It was just what we needed back then. So, when you do that, you gain a new perspective. You gain a more purposeful possibilities and potential. So do you guys want to speak to that? Honor, transcend, release, rewrite all hurts and pains.
Someone taught me something just a few days ago. God, there's so much to learn. I used to put a fearful part on my shoulder and say, watch. But what this person said to me was, and say, you can take a rest now. You've done your job. Thank you so much for doing that. You can rest. And she said to me, the respect part. I respect your power, whatever it is that's on my shoulder. I respect your power, and I want to have that power. I want to have that kind of power, not to take it away from you. Instead of, basically, I was saying, well, go to sleep, go to bed, take a vacation, do whatever. And this person said to me, but there was a great deal of power in what that part of you brought that forward. And I had never thought of that before.
Yeah.
But now I respect much more the fear that was there.
Yeah.
Does that make?
Yeah. And we know that in our training, everything inside of us is who?
Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah.
Everything, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your stories, the fear, the ego, the hurt, the pain, it's all us. It's me doing it to me. Right?
Yeah. Again.
Yeah, I love that. I respect that power, and I want that, and thank you. And I want to perhaps just
Learn.
recycle that power in a better way, just
Yes.
yeah,
So when you
love it.
integrate that,
Yeah.
when we integrate that, make complete total peace with it, ultimate forgiveness, now you're becoming one.
Yes. Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7, transform all unpleasant memories and cultivate the gift that lets you get into action. Integrating, there it is, integrating new perspective and memories, clearing, cleaning, bringing nothing and everything to the conversation, to an event, generating new experiences with gratitude, not grieving. And again, you know, doing the thank you, the all unpleasant memories have a gift, and you want to, you know, forgive yourself for using it against yourself. Sometimes we do that, we use it against ourselves. Apologizing, that's the best information you had at that point, that's what the data got you here. But now it's okay to come from zero, from neutrality, from nothingness. See, there was a part of us that needed to know and needs answers and needs that. Now, can you imagine to be able to function from neutrality?
Do you imagine the observer helping hold that space? Suddenly that's becoming a possibility.
Say that again.
That the observer can hold that everything, nothing space.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
observer
can you sense it
Coach-
now? I can sense it now just by
Yes.
saying, I mean, if the point of power is this moment, it's infinite and it's small because it's like this moment, right? It's the observer is everything and nothing. It's like a blank slate to create. When we go into action now, we're coming from old data. Everything we say, everything we think, it's from old memories, old hurts, old stuff, old rules. It's not coming from being led from nothingness or openness or from zero or from neutrality, right? It's coming from survival part of the brain. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I'm still lovable. So I'm, you know, not wrong. So I don't lose. So I don't. When you're the observer, there's nothing to lose. There's nothing to gain. You're just there. Good point. Okay. 8. Step 8 is you're creating meaningful relationships with yourself and others. Anything you want for yourself or your life is available out of your participation in cleaning and cleansing and clearing up old memories, moment by moment. You know, it's moving through the process, you know, it's moving through the process. 9, I'll just read the rest and then we can talk more about it for the next call. Cultivate ultimate forgiveness in your life, inspired to be neutral state of being love, forgiveness, thankfulness, apologetic. When you're cultivating ultimate forgiveness, that is everything that you're saying or thinking. You want to be clear from that, you know. We want to, ultimate forgiveness means ultimate forgiveness, like non-judgment. Oh, here we go. Number 10, observing, noticing, and experiencing non-judgment, living from non-attachment, clinging to nothing. 11, create with an intention, be inspired. You know, there's levels of intention, right? Intention could be a little bit egoic and a little bit worldly, but being inspired is coming from nothing. It's like you're just inspired to do, touch, feel, whatever it is. A life by design. Stay connected to your new perspective. The results you get out of your participation will be the product of your possibilities that you invent for yourself. You know, I think you were saying it earlier, it's experiment, Leslie.
Oh, yes. We are our greatest experience and our greatest experiment.
Yeah, I love that. And number 12, live with passion and become highly emotional intelligent. Be perfect, divine love. Be authentic, be your word, value, mental flexibility. And of course, you're not beating yourself up anymore, right? When you're like living with passion and you're highly emotional, and there's nothing wrong and there's nothing right. It's just programs. So I like to close the meeting and then we can talk afterwards. In closing, I would like to say that the opinions were those of the people who gave them. Take what you like and leave the rest. The things that were spoken here were spoken in confidence. Here, this is just an opportunity to come and and create brain training for other people. Other people don't know this is available, and to bring it into a 12-step transformational living belief system allows people to move through this process faster and quicker. I came from Al-Anon. It took me 20 plus years to kind of get over my trauma dramas. When I think if I had some emotional tapping brain, like I could have moved on quicker. So keep coming back. It works if you work it and you're worth it. And any last closing, ladies? Any last invites?
Grateful to be here. Grateful to be here. Big time.
Very good.
Thank you.
Shirti?
Beautiful, lots of different aspects and different perspectives. It's always good to hear. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Natasha?
Yeah, and when you hear this the information, even if you've heard it in some other form before, it's valuable because you're getting things on different levels. As you know, you've heard the information in some form before, but even if you had to repeat it over and over again, you would still hear it on different levels.
Yes, we're definitely hearing at different levels. And just so you know, there's 64 mindset attitudes. It's a mental diet that we haven't gone through. And after that, there is the just for today's. Just for today, I will be happy. And there's just for today's. And what's the other one? Words to live by. I think I got a new closing one, but it's a long one. I might just read half of it. Okay, see what we see. Okay, and this is something that you can close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and just kind of let this wash over you. I am a perfect expression of the divine. I am powerful, unlimited creator. I am fully supported in the complete experience and fulfillment of my life plan and soul purpose. Being supported is my birthright and is my natural state. It is through the path of surrender, compassion, and service to the cosmic plane, the divine path of the divine timing, that I am always in the right place at the right time with the right people, making the right choices to fulfill my destiny and the energies of Source God, working through me to serve the world. I'm always sufficiently provided for, and I am grateful. I use all that I am to fully activate all that I am. I fully express my mastery, my heart, my authentic self, my unique place of service, and my joy. I receive because I know I am precious child of the divine. I receive because I know that surrender is the path to create power and service. I allow all good that is my birthright. I create purely for the sake of expressing the source of love that I am. I trust. I use the blessing of my infinite abundance to increase the abundance of others. I am love and loved. I am infinity in action.